Hey everybody, Aaron the Nintintrovert here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out a video that showcases a bunch of custom tracks that were made for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe by the very talented and very impassioned modding community. And yeah, I watched this video for myself earlier, and while as I was watching it, it filled me with a lot of emotion. It filled me with a lot that I wanted to say. So I thought we're gonna make a video. I'm gonna record myself in front of the camera, watching this video, and I'm gonna stop periodically and talk about various things that I like about these modded tracks. But yeah, this video is really just kind of a I don't know. It's kind of an opportunity to vent about Mario Kart World a little bit when you see just what so many talented people are doing with 8 Deluxe. Because Mario Kart World is a game that was steeped with a lot of controversy when it came out, and now 5 going on 6 months later, a lot of that controversy still persists. Unfortunately, from the $80 price tag to just the amount of content that was there at launch, feeling like the open world to explore is kind of barren. People not caring much for the intermission tracks. The Nintendo releasing that update that made the intermissions a lot more mandatory, to finally going back on that a little bit, but not entirely solving the problem. So there's been a lot of issues with this game. But I'm going to switch over to this other cam here so we can react to. I say react, but like I said, I've already watched this video, but still, it impassioned me enough that I wanted to make a video about it. But just kind of analyzing this collection here of fan tracks. So this was put together by Mario Power 55. I'll scroll to where you can kind of see their channel there. I don't know. I don't think you can see my mouse cursor on the screen here hovering around it, but go check out this person's channel if you feel so inclined. But yeah, so they do all kinds of videos like this of just fan recreations of various retro tracks, as well as some like original new tracks as well. And I've been subscribed to this channel for a few years. And initially, when I would watch this person's channel, it would fill me with a lot of excitement, right? Because I first subscribed, it was when the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass was still going on. So there was all this excitement. I was so elated when, like, after so many years of us not getting any new substantial content for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, that Nintendo was finally like, hey, remember this game that we didn't update whatsoever? That sold like, I don't know, it was like probably over 40 million units at the time. Now I think it's like past 60 million, maybe like going on 70 million or something crazy like that. But yeah, super successful game that sold all these copies, outselling literally every other Switch game by huge margins. Maybe we should make some DLC for that. Maybe we should do what we should have done several years ago. So that was awesome. And like one of the first tracks they showed off in that Nintendo Direct, I think it was in like early, I don't know if it was like February of 2022. It was 2021 or 2020. I think it was 2022. They announced the Booster Course Pass. And one of the first tracks they showed was Coconut Mall. And I was like so excited because that's my favorite Mario Kart track of all time. So that just fueled all this speculation. It was kind of like the Smash Brothers hype cycle all over again. Of like what tracks are they going to bring back, which ones are not. What are the new tracks going to be, and like the various city tracks. So it was really really exciting. So this channel here, I was subscribed to, and it was exciting because it was almost like a glimpse of what Nintendo could do. But now, in retrospect, watching this channel, it kind of just makes me sad. It's kind of just a hollowing reminder. Is that an adjective? Hollowing? I don't know. It it reminds me of what we didn't get. Because even after the Booster Course Pass wrapped up, then it was always, there was all this talk about like, oh, Mario Kart's probably going to be a launch title for the Switch too. So there was all this speculation about what that could be. Um, and for me personally, all I wanted, like, is very simple, Nintendo. This is all you had to do. Um, Basically, just Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but more. just keep building upon this already. You already had a really solid foundation with Mario Kart 8, and then that got DLC back on the Wii U. That added, like 4 cups of brand new tracks. And then, they ported the game to Switch, and they added, all these new battle maps, which were sorely missing from the base game on the Wii U. They added some new characters like Bowser Jr. and King Boo and Dry Bones that were weird omissions from the original game. Then they did the Booster Course Pass, which doubled the content from 48 to 96 tracks. They brought back all these fan favorite characters. They got Petey Piranha, we got Diddy Kong, we got Funky Kong, some new characters like Pauline. It was great. So yeah, that was really all I wanted from Mario Kart on Switch 2 was just keep doing more of that. I really thought, because it's like that's such a weird number to cut off at 96 total tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe once all's done, said and done with the Booster Course Pass. So it's like, why would they end it so close? Like they would just need one more cup to reach 100. It's like that seems like really good marketing. 100 tracks in one Mario Kart game, more than any other game. So I thought, well, they must be saving that for Mario Kart on Switch 2. That's going to be the big thing, is like, look at all these tracks. We've got, you thought that the 96 in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was crazy. Well, look at this. So, yeah, that's all I really wanted from the successor, the sequel to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, was just basically what Nintendo did with Smash Ultimate. They had that whole, like, everyone is here reveal trailer. Da 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 da. Da, 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 da. That's what I wanted, but instead of everyone is here, bringing back all the fighters from previous Smash games, everywhere is here, right? Like have every single course, every track that's ever been in Mario Kart. And yeah, so here we've got this video. I've been rambling for a long time, and we've not even started the video. But this is a compilation, as I said, of several fan-made tracks that were modded in to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And a lot of these just look so good. And I wish we could play these tracks on a modern game. Maybe we don't know what the future, what lies in the future for Mario Kart World. Like maybe they will support the game with substantial updates, and by the time all is said and done, that game will be great. I don't know, but at launch, that game just ain't doing it for me, as it's not for a lot of people. But look at this. This is such a great recreation of a classic track. And I'm not even the biggest fan of Frappe Snowland from Mario Kart 64. But which is kind of weird because I love snow levels in games. There's lots of other Mario Kart tracks that are snow-based that I adore. This was never one of them, but this recreation looks really, really nice. I love the Aurora Borealis in the background. Aurora Borealis. At this time of day, at this time of year, localized entirely within your kitchen. Anyway, yeah, I love they got this little cabin back here. Looks very quaint, very cozy. A lot of Christmassy vibes with this one. I love these. We got these penguin ice sculptures in the top right corner. We got this big Christmas tree. So there's a very big Christmas motif with this fan recreation here. I like how they've got the Mario star on top, the Starman or Superstar or Power Star, whatever you want to call it, depending on the game that you're playing. Got the this is kind of how it looked in the original game. We got this Mario ice sculpture. I don't remember this Peach one. That might be new, but I don't know. We've got the snowmen. There's a Luigi one. Another Christmas tree. Aurora Borealis again. I like the way these walls look here. I don't know if this is like this ice texture here like was already in the base game, or if this is something new they made for this mod. But either way, it looks really nice. This is a very solid track that I think the modding community's really impressed me a lot, where it's not just like a lot of these tracks, they look like they could be in the Booster Course Pass. Like a lot of them look better than the Wave 1 Booster Course Pass, because as we know, when that came out, a lot of them, like it felt very rushed. Like a lot of the tracks looked like they were missing textures and things like that. I want to go back because I didn't catch who made this one. The maker of this video did credit all the people who made each of these tracks, and so I will credit them as well. Chirpy Luna. So yeah, that is the person who made this custom track here. Really good one. I think what'll be kind of fun is, like, as I go here, I'm going to rate these all on a scale of 1 to 10. This one, I would give a 9 out of 10. I think it looks really solid. I don't know if I would have leaned so heavily into the Christmas motif, just because, like, we already have, what is it? What was it called? Like Merry Mountainside, something like that. Whatever the The Christmas track is that was originally in Mario Kart Tour that came over in like Wave 3, I think, of the Booster Course Pass. And some of the other ones too also have kind of a Christmas theme to them. So I think they could have done something a little bit different, to make it not so similar theming wise. But next up, this is a great one, Shy Guy Bazaar. This is one of the top tracks that I was hoping we would get in the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass, but never came, and I was really disappointed by that. It was in Mario Kart World, but I just feel like they really didn't nail the theming. So this one was made by Claudio or Claudio. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it with extra emphasis on the Dio, since that's what's capitalized. Um, but yeah, a lot of Mario Kart World tracks I feel like just kind of fail to nail the atmosphere, the ambiance or ambience, however you say that word. I feel like I've heard it pronounced both ways, but that the original game had. So this one feels very faithful to the 3DS game, just with improved textures and everything. But yeah, it's almost identical, I would say. I'm sure if you really break it down, there's a lot of minutia to it. Also, I don't think they were able to implement these little jars here. We'll see if they come back around for another lap. But these jars actually have something inside. There's like a enemy or something that like pops out, and you can see little beady eyes, and it'll kind of like walk around, and you have to kind of dodge the jars. So it seems like maybe they weren't able to recreate that with this modded track. But otherwise, everything's there. I think it looks great. I think the contrasting colors, the just the yellow, very well lit, buildings and roads juxtaposed against this beautiful blue backdrop. I just think it looks great. And I always loved with this track on 3DS, and they carry that over here as well, where you can see the moon in the background. There's a full moon. You got the Shy Guy flying around on a magic carpet. So they were able to import that, but they couldn't the guys in the jar that move around. I don't know. It's a little nitpicky, but anyway. Yeah, I think this is another great one. Part of what really hurts the theming of the tracks in Mario Kart World, it's neat that, they went this route, of having this open world where you can drive from track to track, like it's all interconnected. Like, that's really cool in theory, but in practice, I don't know. It's really hurt by, for one thing, these tracks, they all have to share the same skybox. So that was something that was really cool in all the previous Mario Kart games, especially Mario Kart 8, where I feel like they just really went ham with it, where every track just felt so unique and so dynamic because they all had their own, skybox. Like the backgrounds were all so different. If you compare a track like this, which has this kind of like navy blue, backdrop in the sky, even though it's nighttime, kind of going for a little bit more of a cartoony, stylized look compared to something like, Mushroom City or Moonview Highway or one of the other more realistic city type tracks, where when the moon is out, when it's nighttime, it just looks pitch black. So I like that you can have that variation. Like some tracks at night look very different because they're lit differently because the sky's a different color. But you don't really have that in Mario Kart World. All the tracks just feel kind of homogenized a little bit and all kind of one and the same because they all share the same skybox, whether you're, racing in Bowser's Castle or wherever you are. The sky always looks the same, and the time of day will change. But the thing that kills me especially about this track, though, is like 90% of the time when you're racing on it, it's in the daytime in Mario Kart World, and I think that kills it because the game, like if you were to describe this track in just like a few short words, the original, I would say, just like 2 words, I would say Arabian Nights, right? That's the whole identity. That's the theme of this track in Mario Kart 7 on 3DS. But in Mario Kart World, you're pretty much only ever seeing that track during the daytime, and I just think it kind of ruins it. It really kills the vibe that I think they were going for. I love the Arabian Nights motif, Crash Bandicoot 3 has some levels that are themed similarly to that, and Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, I think it was like the first DLC track they added to the game. I forget the name of it, but it had this really cool level where it's like you're in a desert and it looks like Egypt and it's like daytime and you drive inside a pyramid and then you come out and it's nighttime and everything's like Arabian looking. So they kind of combined the two ideas into one. It was really cool. But yeah, this track during the daytime just does not do it for me anymore, which is really unfortunate. But this, I think this is great. This is probably a 9.5 out of 10 for me. It doesn't take as many creative liberties as the last one we did that added a lot of Christmas stuff, but I kind of just appreciate just the purist in me, just how faithful this is to the original track. So I really really like this one. I feel like the bazaar, the market, might be scaled up a little too much. I don't remember how it was in Mario Kart 7, but the fruit vendor stalls look massive. Here's a fan favorite, DS Luigi's Mansion. This was super upsetting that they didn't bring this back in the Booster Course Pass, and I'm baffled that it's not in Mario Kart World. Again, I don't know what their future plans are for DLC, but this one looks great. This one nails the atmosphere. You got the chandelier up there. One thing I don't love, this is more of a recreation of the 3DS version of this track and not so much the DS original. And really the biggest change there is just these paintings. So this used to have, these portraits here would have the various ghosts from Luigi's Mansion 1. So like the orange one and the light blue one and the pink one. And maybe even, I'm trying to remember, they might have had like some of the actual portrait ghosts, like Chauncey and like the dad and mom ghost. What were their names? Neville and was it Petunia? Was that the mom's name? Maybe I just played that game on the channel, so it should be fresh on the mind. So that's one thing that's just a little disappointing. If Nintendo does bring this track back, especially since we're out of the era of like Mario mandates where everything just had to be really vanilla and sterile and sanitized, that we get back to having more creative original characters and stuff like that again, and that if they do bring this track back, that they will bring back those Luigi's Mansion 1 references and not just have these generic default boos, especially because you can see like when they go outside here, there's like a million more boos in the background, so I just feel like it's a little unnecessary, but beyond that, I think this is another really really solid fan recreation. I would probably also give this one a 9. I feel like maybe the texture on these trees is kind of lacking a little bit. It feels a little bit out of place compared to everything. Everything else looks great, but these textures feel a little low res, kind of little. Still better than Pokemon. What was it? Pokemon Sword and Shield. People were comparing that one tree texture to looking like something from the Nintendo 64. This at least looks better than that. So a couple of nitpicks aside, I think this is still a really solid fan recreation. Very dark. I feel like they maybe made it even darker than the original one, just in terms of like the lighting, which I think kind of adds to the moodiness. So this is another good one. I would probably give this one a solid 9 as well. And yeah, it pains me that we don't have more of this in Mario Kart World. We just have the, all the intermission tracks and the handful of tracks that they did bring back. Most of them, I feel like, just lose so much atmosphere. Especially Airship Fortress. This is a really great segue. Look at this. Look how cool this is. You got this pool of lava beneath. You got this purple night sky. I feel like the purple sky is one big part of what makes DS Airship Fortress so iconic. Who was the maker of this one, and who was the maker of the last one? I don't think I pointed that out. Let's go back. So the DS Luigi's Mansion one was by... wait for it. Scanning for deep fakes. Get out of here. Claudia. Oh, I did point this one out. Or was that the same person? Did the same person make this one and Shy Guy? I think it might be, and if that's the case, then Claudio is very talented. But who made Airship Fortress here? Let's see. The Cheesy Fox. Okay, so that's a different name. This is another really well done one. Right off the bat, kind of another little bit of a nitpick, although I don't know. I would say it's more than just a nitpick. So it's just kind of shooting out regular cannonballs. Typically, this thing is shooting out bonsai bills, or I guess now they've been renamed to bomber bills. I think the large bullet bills. So that's kind of a little bit of a knack against this one, or knock against this one. But otherwise, really great. Oh, I just noticed we got a volcano back there. I don't know if that's the same volcano from Grumble Volcano. But that's pretty cool. But yeah, what I was saying is with Mario Kart World, all these tracks share the same skybox because they're actually in the same area in this interconnected world. So this one, like the sky, they kind of make it stand out a little bit because like you fly up like super high, so the skybox kind of changes to reflect that, where it's surrounded by kind of these dark, like grayish clouds to kind of give it that atmosphere a little bit, but it still loses so much. It's still not as impactful as this track was in Mario Kart 7 or even Mario Kart DS. Because again, when it's isolated and you can give these tracks their own unique skybox, I feel like it gives them a much more striking look to them and sense of identity. So you didn't have like this deep purple sky backdrop to it. And also you can kind of look below and like see other tracks off into the distance. And to me, that also just kind of kills the theming. Like it doesn't feel like each track exists in its own self-contained world. So yeah, but anyway, let's keep going with it here. We got a Hammer Brother on the sidelines. This one I think looks to be based very heavily. Yeah, and they go into here. There's this whole like bar section with some drinks here that's non-alcoholic because this is E-rated by the ESRB Nintendo game. We got this this dartboard back here. So this is based very heavily on the mobile version, Mario Kart Tour. I think it also had a similar area like this. So this one, I don't know how much of this is like a full recreation versus more or less being a port of the mobile game, but maybe with like improved textures. But either way, though, it looks really, really nice. This is another really solid one. I love the interior here, how that looks. This is just a great track in general. It's kind of interesting when you look back and think about it. Mario Kart DS, so many of the tracks in that game, from like Figure 8 Circuit to another one that's coming up in this video, being Desert Hills, and then this one here that really draw a lot of heavy inspiration from Airship Fortress, or from Super Mario Brothers 3. I mean, so with Airship Fortress here, Mario 3 is the game that debuted the airships, and then also you fly into that big tower that you're kind of corkscrewing down, which is just very similar to the fortresses in that game, like where you fight Boom Boom. So it's really cool how there were all these like Mario 3 callbacks in this track, which is a fan favorite Mario game, and probably one of the reasons why it's a fan favorite track as well. But let's keep going. We're moving on to the next track here. This one, probably another 9 out of 10 for me. I know I've said that an awful lot, but I think these are like all really solid. Now I got SNES Koopa Beach 1 by, who made this one? Guess we'll find out in a minute. I don't know about these like brown spots here, if it's supposed to be dirt. I feel like that kind of takes away from the tropical beach paradise vibes a little bit. Why would you have this like muddy looking area on the beach? I don't know. But yeah, this track is just kind of a very simple track in general. I think this is the same one that they brought back in Mario Kart World. And they kind of make it where it's kind of like a rave party where they added like this big Koopa Troopa like blimp and stuff. And there's like music blasting. This one is kind of whatever. That's kind of cute. They got that cabana or whatever on the right side there, the cabin. Oh, there's also, I just noticed this. I don't know if this is ripped from other tracks or if this is like an original asset they made. We got these little gondolas back here or whatever these are supposed to be, and then also the signs, the pointing arrow signs are floating on like buoys. Was that in Mario Kart 8? I don't remember that from any other tracks, but for the most part, it looks like this track is kindly just reusing most of the same assets from Cheap Cheap Beach, which is one of the DS tracks that was remade in the base game. So yeah, this one's gonna be like maybe a 7 out of 10 for me. It doesn't really do a whole lot original. Again, it just kind of mostly pulls assets from existing tracks that were already in the game. And this is maybe the only track on this list where I would say I maybe like the Switch 2 version better in Mario Kart World. But either version of this track, they're just circles, so there's really not a whole lot to say anyway, and there's kind of probably not that much that the maker of this one could have really done with it. But for what it is, it's okay. Who made this one? Did I point out their name? I don't remember if I did because I got distracted talking about the dirt here. This one was by Chirpy Luna. Didn't they make another? They made the first one, didn't they? The Frappe Snowland. Um, so yeah, I wouldn't say this is their best work. I think I like the Frappe Snowland a lot better. And whatever any criticism that I give these, understand that I know a lot of hard work goes into these, and I'm not trying to just hate on the person who made them, because yeah, I don't know the first thing about modding. I don't even know how to run modded games on my computer or hack my Switch to play them or anything, let alone actually make it. I couldn't, I don't know the first thing about it. So kudos to anybody who actually does have the skill, the technical know-how to actually go into the coding of these games and modify stuff, because that's just a whole foreign language to me. So still infinitely better than anything I could do, because I couldn't even get a functional circular racetrack with just a blank white background that's got no textures, because I just don't know how to even do that. And we got an ad for Peacock. Okay, let's skip that. Now we got Wee Toad's Factory. Now, this is a track, this is a fan favorite track a lot of people love. I was never the biggest Toad's Factory fan to begin with, just to be completely transparent. But I know a lot of people wanted this one to come back, which was originally in Mario Kart Wii. And honestly, they did bring this one back in Mario Kart World. I think that may be what this one pulls from, possibly. I don't know if they imported the assets over from that game, because it looks very similar. There are some key differences, though. Yeah, looking red in here, and it's got this mist spraying. I'm pretty sure that was also in Mario Kart World. But then when you come outside here, Mario Kart World adds these so these cranes are holding girders that are suspended into the air, and you can grind off of them. They didn't add that into this modded track here, probably because ground railing is not a thing in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So they're just kind of having to go off of the physics engine of this game. I don't think this is in Mario Kart World, though, this little side area that lets you take this glider. But yeah, even though this one's not one of my favorite tracks, I think that's actually one of the few that they completely nailed in Mario Kart World. So I don't really have any complaints or anything about that one in that game. And I think this one looks really nice as well. This one's probably, I might give this one, who made this one? Chirpy Luna and Charlie's Cafe. So we got a collab on this one. I'd maybe give this one an 8.5 out of 10. I do actually think that I like the Mario Kart World one better for this one as well. But it's not a clear-cut winner so much so as the other one. Because the other one, just the Koopa Beach one, I think the Mario Kart World blows that one out of the water, no pun intended, because that's a water track on the ocean. But this one is really, really solid. It's very comparable, and probably pretty much as good as you could do on the Switch 1. Lacks a little bit of that graphical polish that made the Switch 2 one so good, but still really, really nice. So that's my review score for this one. Now let's go forward. Here we have N64 Bowser's Castle. Now this is a track I really, really wanted to come back. This is my favorite Bowser's Castle track. It was in the N64 game, and they brought it back for Mario Kart Wii. This one's made by Fat Cat. Garfield, is that you? But this one's really interesting. This one, when I watched this video, this one probably left the strongest impression on me. That's not to say it's necessarily my favorite, but I've got very mixed feelings on this one. But I really appreciate the very strong creative identity they went with for this one, because this one, it takes a lot of liberties that's not in the original, but it's really cool what they did. And so again, that purist in me is a little bit kind of wishing it was more faithful to the original, but I look at all the stuff that they did, and it's well, this is really, really good in its own right, even if it doesn't feel quite like the same course. So I love how this was not present in the original. So you've got this big drop off. Before, it was pretty much level, I believe. You just drive in there, and you're at level with the floor. There's not this big dip. Seems like a lawsuit waiting to happen, but that's cool. How you've got this big drop off. This is also new. This like stained glass Bowser window detail here. That looks really cool. We got these bookshelves, which I would imagine, if I had to take a guess, were probably lifted from Twisted Mansion. That might be the same case for these chairs here and the love seat. But even if so, though, it's just like in such a different place contextually, like that it's not really, it doesn't stand out as like, oh, that doesn't belong here. Like it looks, that's just me having played Mario Kart so much that it's like, oh, I bet they took that bookshelf from this other track, but it doesn't. It's not jarring. That's not a knock against it. That's just being resourceful, taking advantage of what's already in the base game. Got another dip here. Got some thwomps. In terms of the actual layout of the track, it's very faithful. It's pretty much one-to-one with how it functioned. But just aesthetically, like here, and this is where I don't know how to feel about it, because like this used to have lava beneath it. They've replaced it with water. And then on up ahead, there's even more lava in the original. I want to go back a little bit and look at these portraits on the wall. I didn't really get a good look at what they are. So this is from Mario 64, I believe. It looks like it's right outside of the where you fight Bowser at the end of what was the name of this level? Bowser in the Dark Sky, I believe. And then on up ahead here on the right, you've got like an aerial view of the arena where you fight Bowser at the end of the game. And I'm not sure what this left one is. It's kind of low res. It's hard. That's probably the video compression, not the fault of this mod necessarily. It looks like it might be Mario Galaxy, if not maybe Mario 3D Land or World, but I'm thinking Galaxy. I don't know which level that is exactly, but that's what I think it's from. But yeah, it's almost kind of like a botanical garden sort of thing going on. And yeah, you come outside here again. There would be lava there beneath you. You're going along the roof of the castle here. This is new. They added this big wrecking ball, which they ripped from Bowser's Castle from this game, the Mario Kart 8 Bowser's Castle, which I guess makes sense they put that there, because initially when you do these jumps, there would be like big geysers of lava that would shoot up. But since there's no lava on this track, I guess they had to get creative and think of a new obstacle to put in there instead. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about the no lava. It's lava was a key part of the original track, but at the same time, part of why this Bowser's Castle track is my favorite is because it stands out so much. Because like the music is so ominous. You've got this like dark night sky. With the music, you've got this chorus, just this, like it's very haunting. Like I feel like a lot of Bowser's Castle tracks go too over the top to try to be really edgy and cool, and they got like heavy metal music playing, just somebody shredding an electric guitar in the background, and you got lava spurting up everywhere. So that it kind of does make this one stand out more, though, that it's a Bowser's Castle track without lava. Part of it feels a little sacrilegious. It's like, well, you can't have a Bowser's Castle track without lava, but at the same time, this track already breaks so many conventions of what you think about when you think about Bowser's Castle that maybe it enhances it that they don't have lava to just break those conventions even more. But I don't know. Again, I'm mixed on this one, but this is still a really, really great one. I do think this Bowser statue in the left here. Oh shoot, I didn't mean to minimize it. But that statue, you don't get a great look at it here. I probably should have stopped it on the first lap. But yeah, as he's coming out here, you can kind of see it. It's very blurry. Again, the YouTube compression on this video, because I've got it set to like 4K. But I'm pretty sure it was breathing fire. I don't know if it was in the N64 game, but I want to say on the Wii remake at the very least it was breathing fire. Maybe I'm misremembering. So that's maybe a little disappointing they didn't have that here. If you're not going to have the lava, at least have a little bit of fire. I mean, we can do that, right? But I do love this. They added this little gazebo that you can boost through. It's got a little ramp you can jump off of. It's not very scary. I don't know why Bowser would have a gazebo for like his minions to like propose under. And they even had that the thwomp that was randomly in jail for no reason from the original game. So that's a really good one. I might give that one a 9.5 out of 10. Even though it's got some design choices that I question a little bit, I just appreciate how bold it is and just how unique it is. Um, Moving on, we've got GBA Cheap Cheap Beach. This is a pretty good one. This was made by the Cheesy Fox yet again, who also did which one did he do? Was it Airship Fortress? Maybe, I don't know. But this one looks solid. I mean, it's kind of what you would expect, and again, it also reuses a lot of assets from Cheap Cheap Beach. But aesthetically, you know, they've got it kind of at sunset. Again, the lighting, the time of day is so important in these tracks, and so it just kind of sucks with Mario Kart World where it's, you know, it's all one open world, and then it's got the real time lighting thing and the sunsets, and then it's daytime again. It sucks that you don't see these tracks in their prime, which is at certain times of day. That's like, you know, it feels like that's this track's whole identity, is that it's a beach that's at sunset. So if they ever bring this one over to Mario Kart World, it's going to feel so weird to play it when it's like daytime. So I don't know. But pretty solid. I like how the water looks, actually. It almost looks kind of greenish because of, I guess, the orange color of the sky reflecting off the surface of the water. This one I would give an 8.5 out of 10. They even got the big Cheap Cheeps back there. But this one looks nice, even if, again, it doesn't really like do anything super crazy. We got the GameCube Rainbow Road from Mario Kart Double Dash. Mario Kart Double Dash is a game I have a lot of nostalgia for. I wouldn't say it's my favorite Mario Kart game, but as a kid, it really resonated with me. So it's definitely the one that I look back on, I think, with the most nostalgia. And this is a really solid recreation of that track. You know, I think they reuse. Actually, I don't know. I started to say, like, is this the cityscape from the N64 Rainbow Road, which was in the base Mario Kart 8 Deluxe remade? But I don't know. It almost I feel like, I don't know. Is it from a different city track? I don't know why they got that Peachette statue there. That's a little weird. Nobody really cares for Peachette, so I don't know why she deserves to have her own monument that's featured prominently on this track, but whatever. They did that very well, making that into a flying section because it wasn't before. Yeah, some of these assets, like these floating giant rainbow-colored Bob-omb and Koopa shell, and maybe even the cityscape below, look like they could have just been imported directly from the GameCube game, but they don't look out of place, though. It looks like they... I don't know what they did, but because it's like that track looks exactly how I remember it, almost to a T, with some slight differences. Like they've got like tiles that you can see on the Rainbow Road itself. But yeah, it looks exactly how I remember for the most part. But I don't know. It doesn't look dated. It doesn't look like a GameCube track. So that's another solid one. I'm going to go 8 out of 10 on that one. Wouldn't say it's like my favorite ever, but it still is pretty good. We got Desert Hills. Now, this is one that was also remade in Mario Kart World, and I think this one blows it out of the water. So right off the bat, they've got a lot of the Mario 3 motifs that, for whatever reason, they cut out of the Mario Kart World version of this game. So we got these... They look kind of pink here, but they were like purple in-game in Mario 3. These like steel pipe frames or whatever this is supposed to be that you would, you know, platform around in, and other references. You know, you've got the fire snakes hopping around here in the background. You got this pyramid here made out of blocks. Yeah, this one looks really, really solid. These blocks here, these are like the semi-solid platforms you could jump up through in Mario 3. Yeah, this one looks really, really great. Very faithful not only to Mario 3, but Mario Kart DS, which this track comes from. Because, again, Mario Kart DS, I don't know why so many of the tracks were based off of either Mario 3 or Mario 64. Because you had, like, Tick Tock Clock. You had all the bosses that were from the DS, or from... yeah, Mario 64 and Mario 64 DS, like in the mission mode. So it's interesting. It's very economical, I guess, reusing those assets or whatever. Um, the one thing I don't think this track has, even so much as a reference to it, is the Angry Sun, unless I just missed it. But they've even got like a custom enemy here. They got this guy who hops around. I don't know what these enemies are called that were from Mario 3. They've appeared in a couple other games, not many. I'm trying to remember if they were in any of the new Super Mario Brothers games or not. I think they were in Mario 3D Land, if I'm not mistaken. But they don't show up very often, so it's really cool that they actually incorporated them here as part of the track. I don't know if that's just like an original asset they made, because I don't know where they would have pulled that from. This model does not look familiar to me. So yeah, this track is one angry sun away from being perfect. This is a 9 out of 10 easily for me. I really like it. Again, much better than the Mario Kart World one, which just looks very bland and forgettable and just like loses so much of its identity that made this track cool. A lot of people don't really like Desert Hills to begin with, but I don't know. I like this track. I wouldn't say it's like one of my favorite tracks of all time, but it's a solid one. I I wasn't disappointed that they brought it back in Mario Kart World. I was just kind of disappointed with how they executed it. Because yeah, they did add, which was kind of interesting. I don't know what the enemies are called. They're like Moai statues, or like they kind of look like Easter Island heads, but they got like arms and they walk around, and some of them have wings and they hop. And those are an enemy from Super Mario Land on the Game Boy. So kind of a callback to Daisy's Desert Kingdom of Sarasaland, which pretty much never gets referenced nowadays. So that is neat. But other than that, that's like the only thing that the Mario Kart World version of this track has going for it. Otherwise, it just looks like a very generic desert track and just a hugely inferior version of Dry Desert, which, yeah, again, this version of it I think looks way better, much more distinct with its own identity. You got all these palm trees here, kind of conveying that you're at like an oasis area. Then we got 3DS Bowser's Castle. So we already had N64 Bowser's Castle, which I said is my favorite iteration of Bowser's Castle. This one, honestly, excuse me, I'm allergic to lava. See, I guess it's a good thing they didn't have it in that other one. This one is actually probably my least favorite Bowser's Castle track, but I think it looks really nice here, though. I think what they did with it is really, really good. So let's play it. I like how they got the smoke coming out of like his eyebrows or wherever that's coming from. It's a little weird, but or no, it's his nostrils. Okay, I see. That makes more sense. It's interesting how there's blue flames illuminating the area, so it's very bright inside. It's very bright and blue, which is not something that I would really expect or have even wanted from a Mario Kart Bowser's Castle track. But it's another one of those things, kind of like the N64 one, that really gives it more of its own identity. So this one's cool. One of the big reasons I didn't love it, though, is like I thought it was kind of weird how it's got this whole underwater section, because that was kind of the big new gimmick with Mario Kart 7, is that like you can race, in the air and sea. So they just shoehorned water into a lot of these tracks that didn't need it. And I don't mind the underwater tracks if it's done well. I just don't think you should force it into like Bowser's Castle. It's like what, I guess you could say it's kind of a callback to the NES Super Mario Brothers, which is like the first time we saw Bowser's Castle in like 8.4. We got another ad here. Wayfair, you got just what I need. But who made this one? Let's rewind and see. So kind of a reference to 8.4, like the last level in the original Super Mario Brothers, which does have a part where you go through a pipe and you end up in a very short little underwater segment. Okay, that was Claudio again. Next up, we have SNES Choco Island 1, and this is a cool one, made by Rod... I don't know how I'm supposed to say this person's name. Rod Majorgi. Rod Majorgi. Rod M. Jorge. I don't know. Anyway, Um, the last one, by the way, I would probably give that one a 9 out of 10 as well. Not one of my favorite Bowser's Castles, but what they do with it is really interesting, and that's probably my favorite iteration of that one. When you make a version of a track, even if it's not one of my favorite tracks, but you make a version, same with at the very start, the Frappe Snowland, one that's like, I would say the definitive, better than any of the ones Nintendo's made. That's a big win in my book. So, yeah, that's a good one. This is another one that's a big step up. It feels like something Nintendo would do, though. This one feels very legit. So, Choco Island, you know, if you've played the original SNES Mario Kart, or if you've played Super Mario World, you know, it's got these jagged rock walls in the background, these mountains that look very odd. It's like a 45-degree angle. It's very weird. I don't know what the deal is with those, but you know that's part of what makes Mario World and by extension Super Mario Kart visually distinct. So they carry that over. But then for the ones in the foreground, they actually make them bars of chocolate, which I think is really really cool. Because in Super Mario World, these levels are food themed in name only. But in terms of the actual tracks themselves or the levels in Mario World, you don't really see any like food around here. But I think the fact they made this actual chocolate bars adds so much. That's 100% an original asset they made that I'm pretty certain is not ripped from any other game. They got this crown on the front of it. Yeah, this one's really, really nice. This one's probably also a 9.5 out of 10. This one's really well done. I remember seeing this one a long time ago, actually, when the original creator uploaded this one on YouTube on their own channel. They had different versions of it. They had like version 1, version 2, version 3, and I guess maybe that's just like a regular thing that these modders do, where they'll have like different iterations. Like this is when I went back and added some extra textures to it. So this, I guess, is the final iteration of it, which looks really solid. I love this ship in the background here. That's very distinct. Oh, you even got like kind of the brown colored muddy water that I guess is supposed to be chocolate, like Nesquik. It's making me very thirsty. In fact, but yeah, this is a really good one. It's a very simple track. But it's a really, really great rendition. I would say this is the best that Choco Island has ever looked. Oh, and that's cool. They got the if you caught that, the whatever you call these little lifts, these little speed bumps, kind of like go up and down. So that's interesting how it kind of periodically changes. That was not a thing in the original, but I think that's a really nice extra touch here. So yeah, this is another really really good one. This looks like something Nintendo would make. GBA Broken Pier. This one is probably the weakest, to be completely honest. Just looking at this one, like a lot of the other ones, feel almost indistinguishable from something that would have been in the Booster Course Pass, right? This one you can tell. I feel like you don't have to look at it very closely to tell that this is a mod. This is not official. This is by Sir Numa. But yeah, I don't know. I just think that the texture work on these mountains is a little weird. Like it feels a little unfinished. Like it feels like it's lacking a little bit of polish. But that's kind of what I was talking about with Choco Mountain, where the creator released like multiple versions of it. Is kind of, I guess, like a work in progress thing. So maybe I think with this one, if this one had some more iterations on it, they could make it look a lot better. As is, it's just kind of okay. You know, they've also got this purple, I guess, like poisonous swamp water below. I don't know. I feel like that kind of takes away from the atmosphere, though, a little bit. I feel like having the purple water almost makes it more cartoonishly spooky versus like in the original game where it had a more genuinely spooky kind of nature to it. But yeah, this one maybe a 6 out of 10 from me. Not terrible. But I do think it's a step down compared to a lot of the other ones they've seen. But if they kept working on it, that's cool. I hadn't noticed that before, how that bridge they crossed there, that little shortcut, is like transparent. Like you can actually see through it. That's not anything, I don't think, that's in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Maybe some of the Rainbow Roads, I guess, are kind of transparent. But other than that, that's very unique. So that's cool. So props for that. Props to these little bridges here. At first I thought it was like a hammock, which seems kind of out of place because hammocks are peaceful and relaxing. Um, but now we got Delfino Square from Mario Kart DS, which was also in Mario Kart Wii. This is another fan favorite track that a lot of people have really wanted to come back. Um, this was never one of my favorite tracks, but I really like what they've done here, though. You can already see right off the bat. There's some, Nokis on the sidelines. We got some Piantas. They've got the M on the wall from Shadow Mario, the graffiti that he leaves over all over the place. So this actually feels a lot more like something out of Mario Sunshine. We got Corona Mountain in the background here. But yeah, this actually looks like it would be a part of Delfino Plaza of Isle Delfino from Mario Sunshine, which is not really the vibe that I got from this track originally. There's another M graffitied on the wall. But yeah, it just kind of felt like this track was just kind of called Delfino Square, but other than the Piantas, nothing about it really looked that much like Delfino Island to me. I think this is a missed opportunity where you've got this drawbridge that comes up. I don't know why they didn't maybe make that a gliding section. I think that would have been really nice. But otherwise, it's got everything there you'd expect. It's still kind of in the fall time. You got the falling leaves. Then they're on the second lap. And I'm not sure what happens here. I don't know if this is one of those tracks where if they're able... If that's what's going on here, that's really impressive that they were able to do this in a mod. I think it's doing the thing that the Booster Course Pass does, where on some laps the route changes and now you're going in like the opposite direction because you've got these red arrow signs pointing, telling you to go this way. So yeah, it looks like they're going through it backwards, which is neat. And then here in a minute, they pass under. Well, there's a glide section, so they've at least got one there. And then they pass under the Shine Gate from Super Mario Sunshine. So again, just a lot more callbacks to Mario Sunshine that I just felt like were sorely missing in the original version of this track, which is part of why I didn't like it very much. It just felt like kind of a generic city track. But this one's actually like legit. Is like, yeah, I get the Mario Sunshine references. Yeah, there we got the Shine Gate featured prominently in the background. I like how brightly colored these buildings are. Very evocative of, like, I don't know, Latin America or somewhere. Italy, I think, also has some similar architecture. I think I saw a video where somebody went to Italy recently as an interesting video to try to find the place that looked like it would have been the inspiration that Nintendo got for Pianta Village, or Delfino Plaza, rather. So that was an interesting video. I forget who the name was of the person who made that video. But yeah, that's a really solid. That's another probably 9.5. That one, I feel like I might have to give that one a 10 out of 10, honestly. The only thing holding me back from giving it a 10 is just my own personal bias in that it's not one of my favorite tracks. I'm not one of the people that's like clamoring for that one to come back. But if I look at it objectively, I think that's probably the one. That one and the N64 Bowser's Castle are the two that have had the most work put into them. Now this one, Mushroom Bridge, this is another track that a lot of people wanted to come back. This looks also like it could have been straight out of one of the later Mario Kart Booster Course Pass packs, or whatever they were called. Waves, that's it. This looks like it could have been from like Wave 6 or something, because it's got the textures there that were missing in the earlier ones. They've got this big wiggler bus, which was a thing in Mario Kart Double Dash back on the GameCube, but I'm pretty certain this never appears in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It could have been in Mario Kart Tour, I don't know, but I kind of think this is a unique asset that might have been made just for this this modded track here, and if so, that's a really impressive attention to detail. They've also got where you can ride up on the railing here on the side of the tracks. You can go over the archways. And yeah, that was a thing that kind of controversially Nintendo removed from the DS version of the game, so it's cool that they brought it back here in this mod. I like these green lights that light up there when you're in that little cave area. This one's a very simple track. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites, but I think they did a really, really good job modernizing it. That's another 9 out of 10 for me. I love what they did with it. Now we got Wii Mario Circuit. Never been the biggest fan of the Mario Circuit tracks, except for the 3DS one. I actually love that track where it's got like the the cherry blossom petals, and then the part where you drive inside of Peach's castle and race in there for a bit. That's a really, really cool one. This one, though, despite the fact that I never cared for it in Mario Kart Wii, I think they did a really good job modernizing it. This one's another one by Chirpy Luna. If I rewind a bit, I like how they've got this 8-bit Mario sprite on top of the little starting area here. I don't know if have we ever seen this sprite from Mario in an official capacity, like with this color scheme? Because this is his modern color scheme with like the red hat and outfit and the blue overalls. We've seen like they have an amiibo that's like this of him in the small form, like when he doesn't have the the big mushroom that's got this color palette. But when he's big like that, I feel like we've only ever seen it in the way that it looks in the sprite from the original Super Mario Brothers, where he's got like the purple or not purple, the brown shirt and his overalls and hat are what's red. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't know if we've ever seen it like that with its modern colors on the classic sprite. But anyway, this one looks really nice. Peach's Castle back there. It looks more closely related to the Mario Kart 7 one. There's the amiibo I was talking about. They got a big statue that looks just like the amiibo figure. So that's really cool. Yeah, this one I think is a really big glow up. That is another one that I would say is better than any of the official versions that we've had of this track. I really like this one. This one I got to give another 9 out of 10. Not a whole lot to say about it, to be completely honest. But what they've done here I think looks really good. This 100% looks like I feel like you could easily fool somebody into thinking that this was in the booster course pass. And again, it looks better than the first couple waves where a lot of them were just like missing textures and stuff by the official ones by Nintendo themselves. So good job on that one. Next up we got Wario Coliseum, another fan favorite. A lot of fan favorites. People really like Mario Kart tracks. Chirpy Luna again with this one. This is a really good one. I wouldn't say this was one of my favorite tracks, but I also didn't dislike it either. It was kind of just it was a solid B tier track for me. So I would have been happy to see it come back. It wouldn't be like my number one top choice of all time, but this is a good track. This is a very faithful recreation of it. If anything, I feel like maybe it's a little bit too basic of a recreation. It doesn't really do anything that different or new. It just kind of feels like a direct port mostly of the GameCube version. Like it doesn't look dated. Like they modernized it a lot, with the improved textures and everything, and the way that you can see the light reflect off of that metal roadway looks really nice. But otherwise, yeah, it feels a little basic. It feels in some ways like you kind of got these archways here that are very polygonal, and they kind of look like they're just 2D cutouts basically. So yeah, a lot of this just kind of feels like it's just kind of the GameCube track ported over. Not bad, but also not anything mind-blowing. So this one I would probably just give an 8 out of 10. Not bad, but could do a little bit more. I wonder if this, because it's a Coliseum, hence the name Wario Coliseum. I wonder if they pulled this from the Rome Avanti course, I think it's called. I don't know what an Avanti means. I need to look that up probably. But yeah, I wonder if they pulled from that. But either way, it's still good. And then last but not least, we have DS Rainbow Road. Not one of my favorite Rainbow Roads, but I enjoy all the Rainbow Roads. This one's probably one of the less memorable ones to me. If you pause and look closely, it's kind of hard to see, especially with the YouTube video compression. But the floor here has this hexagonal pattern in it, like a honeycomb or something. There's another Mario Kart DS fan-made track for Mario Kart 8 that I've seen of this Rainbow Road track that also has a hexagon pattern in it, but it's a lot more pronounced. I think I actually like that version better, to be completely honest. That's kind of neat how you had, if you go back there, they've got little Mario Odyssey references here with the moon blocks. I forget what you call them, the moon stones or whatever, after you beat the game that, add a bunch of extra like power moons and stuff in the post game. But yeah, after this video, I might see if I can't find the other version that I was talking about. Because again, I do think I like that one better. Although I can understand why they might have toned it down for this version. Because with the hexagons being a lot more pronounced, there's another one of those moon blocks. Several of them, actually. It's a little hard on the eyes. It's a little disorienting. I could see it maybe. I don't know if it would be enough that it could trigger like epilepsy in somebody, but it definitely could make a person motion sick. Um, but yeah, this one's decent. I feel like the road itself is a little. It looks not very. It looks almost indistinguishable from the Mario Kart 7 one because like you have to look really close to see that hexagon pattern. So it looks a lot like the Mario Kart 7 remade Rainbow Road. So I feel like they could have done a little bit more beyond just the floating cubes to make it stand out. But overall, pretty decent track. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. But yeah, these are all really well done. How many do we look at here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Dang, that was more than I thought there were. Wow. So yeah, a few of those tracks are already in Mario Kart World, but in most cases they're not really among my favorite tracks. I do think Cuba Beach, I think they did pretty good on that one, even though that track is still very simple. It's just a big circle. You're just kind of holding left. And then Toad's Factory, I think Nintendo also did a really great job on that one. But the other couple of returning tracks, I think the modders did better. There's plenty of other ones here that I think look super good, that look right at home in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or in the Booster Course Pass. But I feel like if we ever get them in Mario Kart World, I feel like Nintendo's going to neuter them just by virtue of the fact that, you know, every track in that game has the same lighting and the same skybox, and, you know, you can see other tracks off in the distance that just kind of breaks the illusion a little bit and, you know, makes it not feel as much like you're actually in a desert or in a snow area or whatever the location is supposed to be. So yeah. But let me look up real quick that other Mario Kart DS Rainbow Road. See if I can find that other remade one that I was talking about that I saw many years ago. But I just think it looks really, really nice. Let me try typing in Mario Kart 8. That's not it. I think that is that the one we just watched by Hello there, or was it somebody different? I don't know. Here it is. Yeah, this is from 7 years ago. I thought this one looked aesthetically really good. I guess I maybe should give an epilepsy warning just to be safe. I don't guess this would trigger a seizure or anything, but yeah, this one again, it also has that hexagon pattern, and I think it looks really, really great. But when you're going fast on it, it can be a little dizzying to look at. This one might be from the base Mario Kart 8 and not Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Let me make sure this is in as high of a resolution as it'll go here. But yeah, I think just like seeing an individual screenshot of it, I think it looks really great. Well, come on, let's go. Let's fast forward. There we go. Yeah, in motion it gets a little it's a little weird to look at. but yeah, I think this is a cool one. I think overall I maybe preferred this one, even if it might make some people sick. But yeah, I just figured we would compare it since we were talking about since we were already looking at that other Mario Kart DS Rainbow Road track that was recreated in Mario Kart 8 to show the first one, as far as I know, which I saw again many years ago. I just think this one looks a lot more visually distinct. This one I think looks really, really nice. I like those metal corkscrew thingies. That's kind of cool. The other one just kind of carries over the same like floating warp pipes that were in the original DS game. But I don't know. This one just feels more distinct. They've got that spinning star there that almost kind of looks like one of the launch stars from Mario Galaxy. Yeah, I think this is a really solid one. But yeah, so that's that. Let me switch back over and I'll go to the back to the face cam here. Hello, I'm on the whole screen now. This video is over an hour long. I can't believe that. This went on a lot longer than I thought it would. But yeah, that's really all I wanted from Mario Kart World. Was just kind of just more of the same. I know that sounds maybe boring to a lot of people, but like if you go back and watch my reaction, because I recorded my live reaction to the April Nintendo Direct, which was the big blowout for for Switch 2, and we got our first real good look at Mario Kart World. We saw a few seconds of footage, in the little teaser from before. When was that? Like February? I don't remember. Um, when they had the little teaser, when people saw like, oh, they changed Donkey Kong's design, and uh, what do these fast food bags do? I don't know. Um, but yeah, for that April Direct, I was talking about my fears and anxieties going into the Switch 2 and just not knowing what to expect and how change can sometimes be a scary thing. And how I was worried, even before we saw footage, I was worried about the direction Nintendo might take for the next Mario Kart. And it's upsetting that, a lot of times Nintendo will prove me wrong, and I feel like, well, I'm sorry I doubted you, Nintendo. But yeah, this was one of those cases where I was unfortunately kind of right on the money. Some people might disagree. If you love Mario Kart World, that is a-okay. But I don't know. I know a lot of people say in this day and age they're tired of remakes. They're tired of these companies just profiting off of just baiting us with nostalgia and just like do something new and original and unique. And I get that sentiment to an extent, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I think it's more than just rose tinted glasses. Sometimes I think the reason things are so nostalgic is not just because we were kids, but because they were actually better than the stuff that we're getting today in a lot of cases. Like kind of talking classic versus modern Paper Mario, and so why the remake of Thousand Year Door was so special, because like I'm hoping that that will usher in a new era of getting new Paper Mario games now that they've kind of gone back. Remakes I think are important because not only is it a way to relive childhood nostalgia and to have classic games accessible on modern hardware, but I think it teaches the developers who have maybe lost their way, um, you know, it helps them rekindle that magic. Like, okay, we're remaking this game, but in doing so, we're also picking apart what about it made it so special to begin with. Why did this resonate with people so much? So I hope Nintendo learned that lesson from Paper Mario, and that we will get a new game in the next couple years that feels on the same scale as Thousand Year Door again. Um, but like look at the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy, and then after that we got Crash 4, which was amazing. Um, Games that do take what their predecessor did and just expand on them, just to the umpteenth degree, just keep building on what made the previous so good. And not just reinventing the wheel for the sake of it, because that's kind of what I feel like Mario Kart World does. It loses sight of a lot of what makes Mario Kart special. It de-emphasizes having these 3-lap tracks, and now you've got these um, intermission courses, as people have dubbed them, where you're just going from point A to point B. And some of people's favorite tracks from like Mario Kart 7 and Mario Kart 8 are similar, where it's just like one really really long lap, like Mount Wario or Mario Kart 7's Rainbow Road. But those tracks still just have such a strong visual identity. They didn't feel like straight lines. There was a lot of twists and turns, and it just they still had so much of a stronger identity than any of the honestly pretty forgettable intermission tracks in Mario Kart World. And it's just such a shame that that's kind of what takes center stage, and there's this de-emphasis placed on the individual 3-lap tracks themselves, which are what made Mario Kart so special. That just had such a sense of character. I remember, I don't remember if it was like Nintendo's president Furukawa or somebody at Nintendo was being interviewed. This was like back during the Booster Course Pass, I believe. And they were talking about how when they do DLC for a game, they do DLC that caters to what makes that game special, I guess. Like when the way he explained it is like, we did get some new characters added, in the later waves of Mario Kart in the Booster Course Pass. We got like Birdo and Diddy Kong and stuff. Early on, it wasn't characters; it was just about the tracks. And so Nintendo had said, again, I think it was Furukawa, maybe some other spokesperson. When it comes to Smash Brothers, we know that that's what the fans care about is the characters first and foremost. That's front and center. So when we do DLC for Smash, we're looking at DLC for characters. Yes, those DLC packs come with a stage, but you're not buying it for the stage so much as you're buying it for the characters. Mario Kart's kind of the inverse of that, where first and foremost it's about new tracks because people love the tracks in Mario Kart the way they love the characters in Smash Brothers, and I think that's true. I think he's right on the money with that. But I feel like Mario Kart World kind of loses sight of that, where these tracks just lose so much of their character and feel just so sterilized. They feel kind of neutered from their original selves by virtue of a number of different factors. Again, the emphasis on these one lap straightaways instead of doing the proper 3 laps. The fact that all the tracks share the same skybox and you can see other tracks off in the distance, so that kind of really limits the older games would kind of leave stuff up to the imagination, and you could say like, well, that's because of technical limitations. That's not a good thing, but I don't know. There was something unique, I guess, and kind of special a little bit with a track like Merry Mountain, where there's that part where like you're doing the hang gliding section, and you can see it's almost like Polar Express. There's a train track off in the distance with a track going over it, and there's these big pointy mountains in the background, and you just wonder to yourself, what's beyond that? Like, I want to live here. What would it be like to live here? But that's lost when you're playing Mario Kart World, because even though it's neat and it theoretically should make it feel more like a realistic lived-in place, it doesn't. When you can see other tracks off into the distance, when you can see the snow world off from this jungle track you're racing on or whatever, it makes it feel less believable, and it feels more like you're in an amusement park. It makes it feel like you're looking at the map, and it's like, well, here's Harry Potter land, and right over there Super Nintendo World, and over here's the Minions section. It all feels just kind of like a mishmash of ideas, and not really like, it feels more manufactured, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's like, oh, you mean to tell me that Dry Desert is within like a 2-mile driving distance of Dino Jungle, and that Dino Jungle doesn't actually take place, like they had to go through some time machine or something to go like 2 million years into the past to the prehistoric era on some other continent or something. I don't know. So I don't know. It makes it lose sight a little bit of what's special. So there is a big part of me, and I know this may sound like massive cope, but part of me wonders if, like, what if Nintendo, this would be crazy. I know, I understand this is a long shot. Arlo, one of my favorite Nintendo YouTubers, he always talks about Nintendo being the kings of left field. So it would be a weird, crazy, mind-baffling decision if Nintendo did this. But imagine if they announced maybe in like February or something, we get a Nintendo Direct, and they announce, here's some DLC, for Mario Kart World, and some new content and stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, and here's more news for Mario Kart fans. And then they announce that they're also doing more DLC for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I know that sounds crazy. Like, why would you support 2 different Mario Kart games concurrently? But I don't know. I mean, like, 8 Deluxe is still selling really, really well. We'll have to see, like, after this holidays financials, because obviously not everybody has a Switch 2 yet. It's also a lot more expensive. It's $500 compared to $300 for the regular Switch. So I don't know, but people still love Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and that game is still selling in droves. Maybe it'll start slowing down. But if it keeps selling, you can still play it on the Switch too, like, I don't know, is it really a bad thing to have 2 concurrent Mario Kart games that are still getting support? Like, I don't know. Maybe it seems like shooting themselves in the foot, like they're kind of competing with themselves, but the way I see it, I feel like you would just be kind of pleasing both fan bases, because Nintendo right now, they've kind of done the mistake that Sega did with the Sonic fan base, and that Nintendo's done with Paper Mario, where they've kind of fragmented their audience into 2 separate fan bases. You've got people that love the changes that they did in Mario Kart World. And then you've got a lot of purists like me who want a more classical, traditional 3-lap Mario Kart experience with these individual standalone tracks. So I don't know. I think that would be a really unique opportunity for Nintendo to support both games. And the updates could all be tied to Switch Online, just like how it was with the Booster Course Pass originally. You're subscribed, then you get this content, added periodically for free as long as you've got the expansion pass. Both the new content for world and the content for 8 Deluxe. And the 8 Deluxe content could be lesser versions of Mario Kart World, you know? Like they could take Toad's Factory from that game. Like they could make like, you know, a new cup for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Putting in Toad's Factory and Desert Hills and what's another couple tracks? Dino Jungle and Shy Guy Bazaar or something from Mario Kart World, and it's like maybe like slightly lesser in terms of like graphical fidelity. So like it's not, you know, it's not 4K. The textures are maybe a little bit lesser. But on the whole, it's the same tracks, and it's just 3 laps, and it's just, you know, the same goodness, but it's in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe now, so you can play it there if you're not as keen on Mario Kart World. Um, I don't know. It's kind of like Smash Brothers Melee compared to Smash Brothers Ultimate. You know, they each have their own competitive scene. You know, you got people who love one more than the other. So like, why not just support both? I don't know. Maybe that sounds stupid. Maybe that's a horrible business decision, but I'm not ruling it out, because you know what? I was one of the only people that was still thinking several years after the fact, you know, from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe came out in 2017. So it was like 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, I think, 5 years later before it ever got DLC. But I was still holding on hope. Like maybe someday they'll add Coconut Mall, they'll add Maple Tree Way, and they did it. I've wished for a lot of really absurd things that have come true, from getting a remake of Battle for Bikini Bottom and like the Spyro Reignited trilogy, Crash Insane trilogy, all these like really out there predictions. Cuphead, like Microsoft, you know, helped fund that game, so like they own the rights to Cuphead. So like there was no reason for me to think that it was going to come to Switch. There was no reason for me to think that the Crash Insane trilogy would come to Switch, because it seems like Activision had an exclusivity deal with Sony, because those games were on the PlayStation originally. But it seems like if I want something bad enough, I can will it into existence. So that's what I'm going to try to will into existence next, that maybe we get a Switch 2 edition of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or something. I don't know. Because I love that game, and like maybe with enough updates and like additional content and stuff, Mario Kart World could end up being something very special. But I don't know. Like I said, going into that game before it was even before we even got our full blowout, I was skeptical, because it really feels like when Nintendo makes a new multiplayer focused game from scratch nowadays, it's like they really struggle with it. You know, if you look at the Mario sports games and like how they all feel very shallow in terms of content. Like, well, the gameplay's good, but like there's such little content here. There's so few characters or stages, and there's all these weird features missing, and it's like this feels unpolished, and you're giving us all this post-game content that feels like it should have been there to begin with, and even then it doesn't feel like a full-fledged experience. You know, that was the case with Mario Tennis Aces and Mario Golf Super Rush and Mario Strikers Battle League. Also, you know, outside of the Mario series, Nintendo Switch Sports felt like a very shallow experience that wasn't worth $50. Then you had, you know, I'm trying to think, like Splatoon 3, I feel like didn't really add much beyond Splatoon 2. It feels like the content for that game could have just been DLC. So I don't know. It really feels like Nintendo's multiplayer games are best when they just do the easy thing and just draw on nostalgia. Just bring back a lot of the old content, just add some new stuff on top of it, and stop trying to reinvent the wheel and do something drastically different, you know? And that's why I'm terrified for the next Smash Brothers game. I want them to just do a Smash Ultimate Switch 2 edition. Take what's there, all the characters, all the stages, that really impressive roster, just keep building on it. On top of all that, you know, add more third-party characters. Put Crash Bandicoot in there. Put Rayman. Put, you know, Doomslayer. Put Master Chief. Whatever. But, you know, there's a lot of people out there that's like, oh, you know, they should completely just do a hard reset from ground zero. Cut the roster down to like 20 characters. Change the formula. Make it a 3D fighting game. And to me, that would be horrible. I'm terrified of that future. I don't want it to be ARMS again. I don't want it to be any number of these other first-party Nintendo multiplayer games that just feel so shallow with such little content, that tries something new but just completely misses the mark. So, just, I don't know. I'm more interested in Nintendo reinventing the wheel and trying something new and bold and daring and different with their single player focused games, because I feel like that's where they find a lot more success. But with multiplayer, just kind of do what already works, you know? So, I don't know. But yeah, that was my reaction. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this where I take a look at fan-made Mario Kart custom tracks and rank them, give you a list of things that I like and don't like about them. That could potentially be fun. Um, Let me know if you want to see me stream more Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I did one or two streams of Mario Kart World because it's kind of the hot new game. But I don't know. Whenever I play Mario Kart World, I just wish I was playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So, you know, if I go back to that game, would you be willing to watch it, or is that old hat by this point? Let me know down in the comments. But that's going to be a wrap for this video. So thank you all so very much. If you enjoyed this, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. And with that, I will catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.